Good spotlight though. There we are. Perfect. Good timing. All right, we've got 45 minutes of flow style class. I'm really happy to be here with you all to do this. We're going to move starting in standing and finishing in standing as well. Grab a cushion or towel roll for your knees for when we're on hands and knees if you feel like you'd like a little extra padding, or otherwise we don't need any extra props. So let's go ahead and get ourselves moving. We will stand up and meet on that mat. Grab that cushion if you'd like it. And let's stand up nice and tall. We're gonna bring our feet close together as we can get them. Get those heels touching if we can, get the toes touching if we can in front. And let's see if we can straighten our knees out. If it's not possible with the feet together to straighten the knees out, go ahead and bring your feet a little bit farther apart from each other. We're going for a narrow base of support to start. We're gonna settle our weight right over our ankles and then lengthen up through the crown of the head as if there's a little string reaching us up to the ceiling from the crown of the head. And that string is dropping a plumb line all the way through the center of the body, through the spine, and from that tailbone right down between those ankle bones. Let's just stand nice and tall, dropping our fingertips down toward those outside ankle bones. And if you feel safe doing so, close your eyes. With your vision out of the way, do we maybe feel our feet doing a little extra work to keep us nice and standing tall? If you need more support, absolutely open your eyes or feel free to bring your feet a little bit away from each other as we do this. We're going to stand nice and tall in whatever greatest challenge of this position we can handle. So feet together, eyes closed, or take away one of those more challenging variations as we take a few breaths here. We're going to inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Again, breathing in and out, feel what those feet are doing to help keep us right over our ankles. Let's open our eyes as we breathe in again, if we haven't already done so. And let's take our arms out to shoulder height and then up and overhead, turning the palms in to face each other. As the fingertips reach up, we're going to let our shoulders relax. Tops of the shoulders are going to release. Those shoulder blades are going to draw down the sides of the body. And we're going to open our feet up just a little bit till the heels are lined up with our sit bones. Soften up the knees, bend them up a touch, and let's sway that upper body side to side. Small range first, keeping the pelvis and those legs and those feet nice and still as our upper body moves. As we move, we may notice that we feel a little weight pressing through the foot on the side that we're shifting our upper body toward. And if we press through that foot, it'll help us drive our bodies right back up to center over those equal feet. Maybe we can take a little further side bend. And then as we come up tall, we think about drawing the belly and the spine toward each other. We're going to feel that midsection start to work. Inhale up, and let's widen our base of support, turning the toes out to the sides and settling our weight back slightly closer to our heels versus our ankles. Again, we're going to take some nice tall side bends toward the top of the room, meeting those fingertips to where the wall and the ceiling meet. As we side bend, we're going to feel some length through the front of the trunk on the opposite side. Inhaling up tall, and now we'll exhale those arms out until the hands are shoulder height. Let's keep our hands slightly in front of trunk level. Reset the belly to spine, feel that seatbelt of muscles engaging right around the waistline, and we'll spin our shoulders in their sockets. Circle, nice little tiny motions as if we're drawing circles on those outside walls. And if you feel safe doing so, close your eyes and pay attention to what you feel in your feet as those little tiny arm motions and actually encourage a little bit of instability over those feet. Circle the other way, open the eyes up first, get that rolling pattern going through the arms, and then maybe we can close our eyes if we feel safe doing so. Circle 4, 3, 2, and 1. Open the eyes, squeeze your blades together, and as we reach the backs of the hands toward the wall behind us, feel a nice stretch through the front of the arms and the tops of that chest. Hold 3, 2, and 1, and we'll windmill our arms down to our sides. Let's give our shoulders a little bouncing shrugs. We'll take them up to the ears and down to the hips, and repeat several more times. Excellent. As we draw the shoulders down, turn that head. Let's look side to side, over one shoulder and over the other. We should see our side wall, and maybe we can get a few more degrees and see the wall behind us. Nod your chin gently toward the neck as we turn. Feel some length through those neck muscles, the tops of the shoulders, and then we come back to face that screen again. Let's tip our heads side to side, ear to shoulder, lengthening out from behind one earlobe all the way to the tip of the shoulder on that same side. Breathe back up to center, and exhaling will bring that opposite ear to the side. Let's repeat again. Inhale up tall, exhale ear to shoulder. Inhale up tall and exhale ear to shoulder. Excellent. So let's bring our head right back to center. Our fingertips are going to come to the front of the waistline and the thumbs come to the back of the waistline as we bring our feet in. Feet will now again be parallel to each other. This time our heels start lined up with the sit bones. If we shift our weight back from the heels to the front of the ankle joints where we were right as we started, we'll now lift our toes up and feel a little bit of a lift through that inside arch of each foot. Spread the toes. And then let's take those toes down to the floor one at a time, starting with the pinky and finishing with the big toe. If you do need a little visual cue, feel free to look down toward the toes. And then look forward, see if it feels different to move those feet without that visual cue. We can train all those little muscles that live within our feet, even the ones that don't even go all the way up to the lower leg, to kick in without us having to look at them. All right, we will press those big toes into the floor. Let's shift our weight toward our toes and toward our heels, finding a range that we can move through where we keep the toes and the heels on the floor the whole time. So we're not rocking all the way back and lifting the foot up on either direction. As we hit our end ranges of our base of support in that forward and back directions, we're going to feel our trunk kick into our fingertips as we hit those end ranges. Let's come right back over the ankles again. And now we push the weight from foot to foot, moving the body as one unit from ankle all the way up to the crown of the head. We're going to feel our glutes kick in as we load one side, and we're going to feel our trunk kick in a little bit differently depending on whether we're shifting toward that side or away from it. Just feel a little stirring underneath the fingertips. Nothing that you're actively doing is encouraging that. It's just simply our body's reaction against gravity. And then let's make some circles around that base of support. Do we again feel muscles turning on and off in a different way depending on where we are in that range? Let's pause where we are and we'll circle the other way. Keep thinking about lifting those ribs up off the hips, lengthening through the waistline, taking the crown of the head up to the ceiling. We'll pause with our weight over those toes. Spread the toes away from each other again, getting a nice stretch through the ball of the foot. And let's see if we can hover our heels up off the mat. We want to keep our big toes and our pinkies planted firmly into the floor. We can stay here if this is enough of a balance challenge, or we can gently rise and lower, keeping our weight on the ball of the foot, working through our calves. Let's pause for a moment, taking time to raise and lower through whatever range is working for you. Maybe we even feel the backs of our thighs and our glutes kick in a little as we continue to lift up and down, and we'll lower our heels to the floor. As the heels touch, we shift back over the ankles, and let's give those legs a little shake. Give the wrists a little shake. And then the pinky side of the hand goes right to the fold in the hips, right where those femurs fold into the pelvis. And we bring our feet away from each other, shoulder width apart. Let's take a little more of a knee bend, and we're going to take our tailbone back and the crown of the head forward. Think about lengthening your head and your tail as far away from each other as you can as we bring that trunk forward. And then we squeeze our glutes, feeling the outer hips start to lengthen and kick in. Reach the fingertips toward the floor. Let's move to our row. Squeeze the blades together and then release, taking the hands toward the mat. Let's squeeze and release several more times. Thinking about letting those shoulder blades gently wrap around the back of the body and around the front of the body as we go. Let's pause with our elbows tucked in by our sides, blades squeezed together. Press your triceps into action, straightening and bending the elbows. We'll press and press. Let's take our hands right back to the hips, bend the knees a touch further, and shift the weight from side to side, feeling your glutes kick in on the side that we're loading. Shift for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Take that body weight right back to center over both feet, and then let's bring ourselves up nice and tall. Again, we shake out our wrists. Again, we shake out those knees, and let's give the shoulders a few circles up, back, and down as we start to think about getting our way down to the mat. So we're going to step to one side of our mat, grab any cushioning you'd like to use. And then as we turn ourselves lengthwise, we'll bring that cushioning down in front of our feet about a foot to 16 inches away from those toes. Again, we soften our knees. Let's breathe those shoulders up to the ears and then exhale the shoulders down toward our hips. Slide the hands down the sides of the thighs as we tip our crown of our head forward and the tailbone back. Let's bring our hands toward the mat, bending the knees as much as we need to get our hands down to the floor. We'll walk our hands forward over any extra padding that we might have laid down, And let's bring our knees down to the mat to rest on our cushion. Knees and hips, wrists and shoulders are lined up with each other, and we're pressing our big toes and our pinky toes firmly into the floor. We may get a stretch through the ball of the foot here already. Let's take a breath here, and exhaling, we draw the belly to the spine, and let's rock our bottom back toward our heels. We're loading into the ball of that foot, maybe stretching through the sole of the foot, maybe a little stretch through the calves if those soles are a little tight. We'll pop right back up tall, wrists and shoulders lined up, and then let's rock back, bottom to heels. Bring that body upright, bottom to heels. Bring that body upright, and we'll curl the belly under, looking toward the thighs for cat. We reverse, taking the tailbone forward and the breast, or tailbone up rather, breastbone forward for cow. Again, curl to cat, reverse and lengthen to cow. Curl to cat, reverse and lengthen. One more time, curl up to cat. Reverse through to cow, and moving our body right back to neutral. Fold your tail in half. Let's keep our shoulders still and bring one hip up to meet that same side shoulder. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that trunk right back to center. We'll flip those toes over so the tops of the feet press into the floor. Let's squeeze our shoulder blades together behind the back and then press them forward. Wrap them around the front of the body toward the floor. Squeeze them together. Press them apart. Squeeze and press one more time. Squeeze and press those blades to the floor. One at a time, we tap our feet toward the outer border of our mats, giving our hips a chance to rotate a little bit. Coming back to center, let's take our feet together. We'll bring those knees apart toward the edges of our mat, and let's press the bottom back to the heels. Press the heels of the hands firmly into the mat, and then bend the elbows, dropping the forearms to the floor. We'll slide our elbows back to the inner portions of our knee joint lines. And let's press our weight side to side over one shin and then over the other. Feel the groin lengthen out on the side we're moving away from. And then we pop right back to center. Slide or walk the hands toward the head of the mat. Let's lower our forehead down. Inch those fingertips a little farther forward, maybe a little closer to the outer edges of our mat. And if you need a little more slack in the system, bend up your elbows. I do want you to feel a nice stretch through the sides of those shoulder blades, the sides of the trunk, but if you feel any guitar string like pulling under those armpits, bend the elbows, take some pressure off. We're gonna wiggle one side of the trunk at a time toward the floor. Again, deepening the amount of flexibility we can get from one side and then from the other. Let's come right back to center. We're gonna walk our hands toward the screen, just off the side of our mat, and place one hand right on top of the other. Let your head rest between those two arms, and as we breathe in, we're gonna feel the opposite side of our body opening up. Breathe it out. Inhale, walking the hands back towards center, and then exhaling, we walk our hands toward the opposite side of the room. Pause, hand over hand, again, taking a breath into that opposite side of our trunk. Exhaling, we hold. Inhaling, let's bring our arms right back to the center of the mat. Lower the forearms, bending the elbows again if they've been straight, and let's shift our weight right over those elbows. So our face is lined up with our thumbs, elbows and shoulders are lined up, and from here we're going to draw the belly to the spine and keep it there as we lengthen our legs back behind the body, drawing the feet toward each other, the knees toward each other. We come to rest on our upper thighs with that breastbone reaching up toward the bottom portion of the wall in front of us. Let's squeeze our shoulder blades together and press them apart. Squeeze them together behind the back and then wrap them around the front of the body. Squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. We'll hold here, shifting our weight now from side to side. Feel that core kick in as we do so. Take it back to center. We're going to turn our entire body toward the screen. Tuck the forearm underneath us, and let's turn to our backs. Bring those arms right down by the sides. We'll bend up our knees and creep those heels a little closer to the bottom. Picture that clock face on the midsection with 12 by the breastbone, 6 by that pubic bone, and 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock on either sides of the body. Flip your palms to face the ceiling, opening up through the shoulders and chest, and feel the backs of the shoulders rest into the mat. We're going to curl that pelvis toward 12 o'clock now, keeping the upper body nice and still and open. Reverse, lengthening that tailbone toward the heels for 6 o'clock. Curl to 12, lengthen to 6. 2 more, curl to 12, lengthen to 6. Last one, curl up to 12, hold it there and press your heels into the mat. Let's squeeze our glutes and peel that body up off the floor, lifting the hips toward the ceiling and lengthening our knees toward the wall in front of us for bridge. Inhale at the top. Focus on any kind of length we can feel from those kneecaps all the way up to the hips. Let's lengthen down. Tailbone and kneecaps reach toward the front of the room. And once those hips reach the mat, we release our glutes. Big breath in. Exhaling one more time, we curl that pelvis to 12 and continue to curl, peeling our bodies off the mat as we lift up into a bridge. Lengthen the hips toward the front of the room. Lengthen those knees toward the front of the room. And feel the length through the quads. Hold here for 3. Feel your glutes working too. Here's 2. And 1. Keep reaching the kneecaps forward. We'll lengthen the body down to the mat. Release those glutes at the bottom and let the pelvis release into neutral. We'll rock those knees toward the screen, allowing the far hip to come up. We'll rock the knees toward the opposite side of the room, letting the knee or hip come up. Taking that body back to center, let's rock that pelvis from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, allowing one side of the pelvis to lift as the opposite side rotates toward the mat. Breathe through center and exhaling, we lift the opposite side up. 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Take them right back to center, reset belly to spine, and let's open our arms out to the sides. We're going to slide them out along our mat until we find a point where we feel a good stretch through the upper arms and the chest. Your hands still may be well shy of shoulder level. They might be at shoulder level with the arms making a straight line from one side to the other, or they might even be up a little bit higher. I'll let you decide where you want them. I want you to feel that stretch through the sides of the chest, front of the shoulders, and from there, again, we rock the lower half of the body from side to side, intensifying a little bit that stretch that we feel through the side of the body that our knees are moving away from. Rock toward one wall, rock toward the other wall, and then we'll come right back to center. Breathe it in. Exhaling, we nod the chin, we drop our middle back to the floor, and we draw the belly to the spine. Let's float the backs of the hands and the arms up off the floor, and let's bring our arms up to the ceiling. Keeping the rest of the body still and that navel engaged toward the spine, let's wrap our shoulder blades up toward the ceiling, around the front of the body, and then lower them down to the floor. Reach them up, lower them down. Reach them up, lower them down. One more time, reach those blades up. Lower them back to the mat, resetting belly to spine. We'll bring our knees up to 90 degrees. Let's take one arm at a time and open it out to each side wall. Nod the chin gently so you can look with your eyes and see those kneecaps. Shins are slightly apart from each other. Knees are hip width apart. Let's take a breath here, and exhaling, we place our hands and thighs right next to each other. Press the hands and thighs toward each other, feeling the trunk activate a little more with every increase in pressure that we push through our hands and thighs. Let's breathe those legs to the ceiling and then bend them right back to tabletop. Wiggle through whatever length you can find through the backs of the thighs. Inhale as we straighten and exhale as we bend. Inhale, straighten, and exhale, bend. Hold it there. We're going to flex our feet and reach our arms to the ceiling. Keeping the core engaged and that upper body still, let's press one foot at a time toward the wall in front. Sweep it right back to tabletop. Breathing out, press the opposite foot forward. Sweep it back to tabletop. Repeat, extending and then bringing that knee back to tabletop at a pace that's working for you. If we want to challenge it further, one leg presses, we take our opposite arm back overhead. We can always lower that outstretched leg down till it's just barely off the floor as well. Breathe it back to center and switch it up on the exhale. Again, moving at a pace that makes sense for your body. We'll do 2 more on each side, and after that last repetition, I want you to meet me back in tabletop. Knees and hips are bent to 90. Arms reach toward the ceiling. We're going to point our toes now and draw the knee farthest from the screen all the way into the chest. Give those shoulders a roll, and we'll slide that opposite leg out along the mat, pressing the back of the knee down as we do so. Let's draw our bent knee across the body. Give it a wiggle toward the screen as we lift our other hip up. Let's come back to center. Hold it there. Hang on to that shin. Hover your supporting leg up off the floor, and let's circle that leg on the wall in front of us. Move from the hip joint, keeping everything else still as we can. Pause, and then we'll circle the other way. There's 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale that knee to the center, and breathing out, we press our opposite leg forward, lower it down to the mat, and give that knee a little wiggle across the body. Breathe, and take it back to center. Hanging onto that shin, we reset belly to spine, and gently lift that opposite leg up to its hovered position. Circle the wall. There's 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse it. Circle for 4, for 3, last 2, and 1. Repeat. Inhale, center, exhale, and press. Inhale, center, exhale, press. Repeat for 4, lengthen out. Here's 3, and lengthen. Last 2, press to hover, and last 1. Lengthen that far leg away, lower it to the mat. Release those abs for a moment. Think about tightening up the front of that straight thigh, pressing the back of the knee into the floor. Now we reset belly to spine as we grab on behind our lifted thigh and lengthen up through the range we have in that hamstring. Drop your shoulders to the floor. If you need to bend the knee in order to keep those shoulders down and strain off the neck, totally fine. Flex and point those toes. Feel the length move to maybe even toward that heel and calf versus just behind the thigh. We'll keep our core engaged and reach the arms to the ceiling. Take that lifted leg side to side. Keep the back of the pelvis nice and still, firmly planted into the mat. If you need to bend the knee a little more in order to keep that trunk still, that is completely fine. Let's make some circles. 4. Circle 3. Here's 2. Breathe in at the top, and exhaling, we'll take them the other way. Circle 4. Circle 3. Here's 2. And 1. Give that knee a hug. Draw it into the chest and release the front of that hip. Inhale the other knee to the center, and breathing out, we'll slide that opposite leg out along the mat, pressing the back of the knee into the floor. Big breath in, and reset belly to spine with the exhale. Flip the grip, hang on behind the lifted thigh, and let's lengthen up through our hamstrings. Straighten and bend, again, doing our best to keep that shoulder area relaxed down to the floor. We'll pause in that straight position, stretched position, flex and point the toes. Again, adjusting your knee position as needed. Point the toes to the ceiling, reset belly to spine, and those arms go down by our sides. Take the lifted leg from side to side. There's 4. Here's 3. What if our arms are lifted? Last 2. Inhale to the ceiling, let's circle. 4. Circle 3. Here's 2. Breathe in at the top. Exhaling, we'll take them the other way. Final 4. 3. 2 more. 1. Hold that leg where it is. Grab on behind the lifted thigh and roll the shoulders back and down. Nod the chin and hover that supporting leg up off the floor. We're going to try to keep our shoulders resting toward the mat as we lift our hovered leg up. Switch our grip to the thigh and lower that opposite leg down toward a hovered position. Inhale and lift. Lengthen and lower. Inhale and lift. Switch up that grip. Inhale and lift. Lengthen the other leg down to the floor. We repeat for 4. Here's 3. Last 2. And 1. Give everything a hug into the chest. Draw those knees in and rock the body side to side. Feel a little space between each low back vertebra. Come back to center, give the shoulders a roll, and turn that head from side to side. Again, look over one shoulder. Look over the other shoulder, and we'll come back to center. Let's grab those kneecaps. Guide the legs back to tabletop. Give a little pressure from the thigh and hand toward each other to reset that trunk. And we'll take our arms down by our sides. Let's lengthen the legs up toward the ceiling, breathing in. And exhaling, open the feet toward the side walls, lengthening out through the inner thighs. Inhale, feet together. Exhale, open to V. Inhale, feet together. Exhale, open. Inhale together. Exhale and open. Inhale together. Let's move through little semicircles, crossing and arcing, one leg in front of the other. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the feet together and we'll circle the ceiling, opposite direction with each leg. Circle 3, Circle 2. 1, breathe in at the top, and exhaling, we'll take them the other way. Circle 4. There's 3, 2, and 1. Hug those knees. Release the front of the hips, and again, we rock that body from side to side. Big breath in. Exhale, center. Guide those knees back to tabletop. Flex the feet and turn the heels together and those knees apart. Reset belly to spine. Even think about that 12 o'clock pelvic curl, and we take our hands down by our sides again. We'll breathe those heels in toward the body for frog, and then exhaling, press them forward. Inhale to frog. Exhale, press. Inhale to frog. Exhale, press. One more time. Inhale to frog. Exhale and press. Turn the feet toward each other. Scoop those legs to the ceiling. Reset belly to spine. Pressing the hands into the floor. Let's take that close leg closest to the screen. Arc it toward the wall in front, and then breathe down until that heel just hovers off the mat. Inhale to the ceiling and switch it up on the exhale. Let's repeat at a pace that makes sense for you. Bending the knees if we need a little pressure off. Lower and lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Let's bend our knees. Hug everything into the chest and rock that body side to side one more time. Big breath in here. And with the big breath out, we come back to center. Let's take our feet to the floor and line up those heels with the sit bones and take the hands down by our sides. We're going to prepare for bridging. We're going to go through a series. I know we did a few in the beginning where we curled the pelvis. For this set, we are going to keep our trunk and pelvis moving as one unit. So we press our hands into the mat, take a big breath in, and reset belly to spine on that exhale. Squeeze your glutes, press the heels through the floor, and we lift that body as one unit up to the ceiling. Inhale at the top, and breathing out, we lower that trunk as one unit. So our hips bend, nothing else changes position. Breathe and lift, lower and release. Squeeze and lift, lower and release. Squeeze and lift, lower down. Squeeze and lift, and we're going to hold those hips to the ceiling. Let's keep our hips lifted, take it up and down on the toes. There's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take the heels down, big breath in, and exhaling, we lengthen that trunk down to the mat. Release the glutes when those hips touch the floor. And let's rock those knees from side to side for 4, rock 3, last 2, and 1. Breathe back to center. Exhale, squeezing those glutes, and we're going to press right back up to bridge. Let's take one knee at a time out toward each side wall, keeping the hips lifted. If you want to take your fingertips to the points in the front of the pelvis and monitor for their position, you'll notice if a hip drops away from your fingertip. Alternate legs. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe to the center. Inhale here. Exhale, squeeze the glutes, lift to the ceiling for 8, for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold them up there, breathe. Exhaling, we reach down. Lengthen the tailbone toward the feet. When that sacrum and that tailbone touch the mat, release everything. Let's again rock those lower halves toward the screen and away, allowing the opposite hip to float up off the floor as we do so. Breathe to center. Exhale, belly to spine. Let's press up to bridge one more time. We'll hold and press the hands firmly into the mat as we move through our march, taking one knee at a time, up toward the same side shoulder. Keep lifting and march. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1. Press that foot into the mat. Take a big breath in. Exhaling, bring that body down. And again, we release at the bottom. Rock that lower half toward the screen and away. Taking a breath in and taking a breath out. Let's come back to the center. Big breath in and exhale, reset belly to spine. Cross one ankle over to the other knee. That knee falls out to the side just till its natural stopping point. We're going to press our ankle into that supporting knee and take a big breath in. Breathe out, belly to spine. Squeeze those hips and press through the heels. We lift and lower. Single leg bridge. There's 4, Here's 3, 2, 1. Switch those feet up. Ankle to knee. Gently press that knee out to its first natural stopping point. Reset belly to spine. Squeeze those glutes and press through the heel, lifting up and down. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower those hips. Keep that ankle right on the knee where it is. If we have a little more slack, we lift up to figure 4. Let's hold that figure 4 position. Take a big breath in and take a big breath out. Rock toward that uncrossed side. As we rock away from our crossover leg, we should feel that stretch move from the back of the thigh a little more to the outside. We'll take a breath, and then coming back to the center, we'll bring our foot down and switch it up. Ankle to knee, lifting if we have the slack, and then rocking away from our cross leg, moving the stretch toward the outside. Take a breath, and breathe out. Excellent. We'll come right back to center. Unwind, hug those knees into the chest, and give the shoulders a roll. Let's take our feet to the mat, elbows to the sides, fingertips right to the points in the front of the hip, and with that core engaged, we're going to slide our legs out nice and straight. So you can get the backs of the knees to the floor. We're keeping that tummy nice and active, belly to spine, and we're keeping our pelvic bones level. They're same distance from the ceiling, same distance from the floor. Let's keep our core engaged and see if we can transfer the load from one side to the other. Small range, lifting and lowering, one leg at a time. We want to challenge it differently. Reach those arms to the ceiling. Keep going up and down for 4, for 3, for 2. Last foot comes to the floor. We nod the chin toward the neck and take a big breath in. Exhaling. Drop your breastbone. Drop your rib cage. Drop that middle back to the mat. And we breathe in again. Exhaling now, we reset the belly to the spine and keeping all those areas connected to the floor, let's reach our arms back. Find the length through the sides of the body. We'll be doing this length finding on hands and knees in a bit, but let's see if we can really keep that back nice and still on the floor as we reach overhead. Hold 4, hold 3, hold 2, and hold 1. Inhale the arms up, we'll bend up our knees, and let's turn toward our screen. Grab any extra padding that you might want, and meet me up in all fours. Once we're here, we reset that belly to the spine. We're going to curl in reverse from 2 cats to 2 cows. Coming back to center, give that tail a little side to side wag. Coming back to center, slide the leg close to the screen back. Squeeze the glute, lift up to trunk height, and let's take our opposite arm forward. Imagine you have something balanced in the small of the back that you don't want to lose. Hold. 3, 2, and 1. Switch sides. Lengthen and lift, reaching the opposite arm forward. Again, find that balance point. Hold it 4, 3, 2, and 1. Switch it up. Lengthen and reach. 4, 3, 2, and 1. One more time. Switch it up. Lengthen and reach. 3, 2, and 1. Leg stays where it is. Switch off those arms. Here's 4. Here's 3. Here's 2. Last one. Let's switch again. Lengthen and reach. Find that balance point. Switch those arms right off the bat. There's 4. Here's 3. 2. And 1. Hand comes down. Take the toes to the mat. Arc the leg to the side and press that foot into the floor. We'll feel the length through our inner thigh as we hold here. And then keeping the core engaged, let's rock that bottom back. And come up tall. Again, rock it back. And come up tall. 2 more. Take it up. Last one. Rock it up tall. Press into the hands and lengthen the leg back. Draw it into the other knee and bring the opposite leg behind the body. Let's arc it out to the side, pressing the foot into the mat and lengthen that inner thigh down into the floor. Rock that bottom back and forth. There's 4. Rock for 3. Last 2. And 1. Coming up tall. Let's take that leg back. Press the ball of the foot into the floor. Reset belly to spine. Big breath in. Exhale. Take that body up to plank. Take 1 foot at a time to the outer border of that mat. Tap 4, tap 3, tap 2, tap 1. Keeping those hips open, we're gonna lower our knees down. So we're in a little shorter lever plank. Keep the feet flexed. We'll move more to a Spider-Man motion. We arc one knee out to the side of the mat. Take it right back to meet the other leg. Arc the other leg out to the side. Take it back to meet the knee. Take them side to side. There's 4. Press through those shoulder blades. 3. Here's 2. Last 1. Take those legs back to center. Walk the knees in underneath the hips. Curl the cat. Reverse to cow. And come right back to center. Let's move to our shoulder taps. Taking one hand at a time to the opposite shoulder. Maybe taking a second to shake out those wrists as we move. As we continue to tap, we can make it more challenging by bringing our hands toward the outsides of our mat. Feel a little more challenge through the trunk, through those knees, as they press a little bit differently in the floor in our wider base. Let's bring those hands right back to center. Take the knees in just slightly. Curl the cat one more time. Reverse the cow one more time, and we'll come right back to center. We're going to bring our forearms to the floor and walk those forearms forward until they're about 6 inches from the head of our mat. Keep the core engaged. We're going to shift our body forward till the shoulders and elbows are lined up. And let's take our legs back slightly and turn the toes toward the floor. We're in a little forearm plank with just a shorter lever here. So toes are on the floor and knees are on the floor. We're going to shift our bodies side to side. Feel some work through the trunk, some work through those shoulder blades. And if we want to make it more challenging, come up to plank. Take it side to side. Shift 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back to center, we'll take our knees down, turn the tops of the feet to the floor, and then rest on those upper thighs, gently extending through that back, that trunk, and taking the breastbone toward the wall in front. We want to keep the core active, and then we kick our heels to our bottom one at a time. Kick, 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 kick. Here's 4. And 3, last 2, and 1. Let's gently bring that upper body down. With the hands underneath the shoulders, we'll pull ourselves up and then bring the knees apart as we rock the bottom back to our heels and lower that forehead down. Take a big breath in, and then breathing out, we'll walk our hands toward the screen. Just like during our warm-up, take a big breath in. Exhale, feel that side open up. Breathing in, hands come to the center, and exhaling, we bring them to the far side of our mat. Take that big breath in one more time. Exhale. Inhale again. Breathing out now, we walk the hands forward. We come up to hands and knees. Find that extra padding if it's fallen by the wayside, and let's bring ourselves up to a kneeling position. We're going to hold here with our hands on our hips. And we're going to work through some weight shifting activities in this position. So hands are on the hips. We shift toward our screen. Bring the far leg forward for a kneel. Let's shift the weight toward the front toes. And we'll shift our weight toward that back heel. Just a touch forward and back. We're going to do our best to keep our trunk nice and upright. We'll feel the work through our supporting leg, the back leg. We'll feel a little bit of work through our front leg as we drive our weight back between the two. Let's come right back to center. Let's come back to our tall kneeling position, shift away from the screen, and repeat on the other side. We're up in a half kneel. Trunk stays nice and straight as we shift toward the front leg, and then as we shift toward our back leg. Shift forward, and shift back. Shift forward, shift back one more time. Shift forward, take it right back to that half kneel. We'll come right back into our full tall kneeling position. And as we breathe out now, curl the pubic bone toward that breastbone, lengthening out through the spine just a touch. Hands come by the side, flip the palms to face the wall in front, and open up those shoulder blades. Let's take our shoulder blades toward the back wall. Collarbones come away from center, and we're going to bring our hands back behind the body as far as we can. Squeeze the blades, pulse the pinkies together. There's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take a breath here. Exhaling, our arms come down. We give our shoulders a roll. All right, let's take a seat on our mat. We're going to be cross-legged if we can. Get that weight right over the front of the sit bone. So if you can't be cross-legged comfortably, feet come right in front of the body. Lifting the arms out to shoulder height, we'll breathe in, and then exhaling, we take a nice tall side bend. Inhale up tall, exhale, hand down, opposite side comes up and over. One more each. Inhale up tall, exhale, hand to the mat, reach up and over. Inhale up tall and exhale, reach up toward that top of the room. Let's bring everything down by our sides, give the shoulders a shrug. Breathe them down and let's turn that head side to side. Coming back to center, we'll make our way down to our mat. Knees are forward, heels are lined up with the bottom, and we'll lift our waistline up. Take that top hand to the waistline and take our knee up and down for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Take the knee down, top leg stays still, stretch the bottom leg out straight. We still have our top toes resting on that bottom knee. Take the knee up and down again. Maybe the hand comes up in front to stabilize against the mat. 2 more. Last one. Knee comes back to hip height. We'll bend those knees again. Move to fire hydrants. There's 4. Here's 3, 2, 1. Leg comes down. Stretch the bottom leg out again. Fire hydrants again. There's 4. Here's 3. Press your bottom elbow into the floor for a little more stability. Last one. Knee comes forward. Bend the bottom knee again. Swing the leg forward. Keep the knee bent as we swing it back. Swing forward. Swing back. 2 more. Swing. Swing back. Last one. Swing forward. Swing back. Top hand comes to the mat. We straighten both legs out. Swing that leg forward. Swing it back. Again. Swing forward. Swing back. Last 2. Swing back. Last one. Swing back. Hold it there. Pulse that top leg up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bottom leg comes back, lining up at the top, and bring it up and down. There's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take that top leg down, bend the knees up, give that hip a little pat. All right, let's come up and over, making our way to the other side. Take your time. Bend up those knees and rest on that bottom arm as we take our hand to our waistline. Lift that waistline up just slightly and bring the knee up for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Knee comes down, slide that bottom leg down, nice and straight. And again, take the knee up for 4, for 3, for 2. Bring the knee forward, bend up the knees again, fire hydrants. Lift and lower, 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Leg to hip height, stretch the bottom knee out straight, hydrants again for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Bend the bottom knee, swing the top one forward, press it back. Swing and press. Swing and press. 1 more. Swing, press back, straighten both legs out, swing the top one forward, swing it back, swing forward, swing back. We're in the home stretch here. Swing back. 1 more. Swing forward, swing back, pulse the leg up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slide the bottom leg back to line up with the top. Then lift that bottom leg up. There's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring those legs down, bend the knees up. Give your hip a little pat, and let's make our way over to our backs again. We're gonna rest the back of the body against the floor. We're gonna rock those legs toward that screen and away. 1 more time, rock toward the screen and rock away. Let's come back to center, cross an ankle over the other knee and lift up. Take a breath here and then exhale. Rock away from that crossover side, feel the stretch move to the outer hip and hold. Breathe back to center, unwind those legs and cross the opposite ankle over. Knee to chest, hold it here. Rock away. Lengthen out through the outer hip as we breathe and bring back to center. We'll unwind, give those knees a hug and rock that body from side to side. Inhale, center. Grab those knees and breathing out, we'll bring our feet to the mat. Let's go ahead and turn ourselves toward our screen. We'll make our way to hands and knees. And then let's walk our hands back toward our knees as we flip our toes to press into the floor. As we walk our weight back toward our ankles, we'll remember to keep our weight over the front of the ankles before we make our way up to standing. So we have a nice stable base. All right, get those bearings in standing, shake everything out, and maybe in the center of the mat. We'll close with our feet as close together as we can comfortably get them. And let's shrug our shoulders to the ears with a big breath in. Drop them down to the hips with a big breath out. Let's turn and look side to side. And we'll face our screen. Close with a breath in, arms come out, up and overhead. We'll look toward our fingertips and breathe into center. We made it. I hope everyone has a lovely weekend as usual, and we'll do it again next week. Thanks so much.